everyone, welcome to another vlog. I'm nearing the end of this playlist now. I think maybe a couple more videos and then I'm going to be finishing that chapter or this chapter of my life, I think. But this video is going to be about anemia and blood transfusions because I want to raise some awareness and just some knowledge about both of these, because I didn't really know anything before it actually happened to me. And obviously they're important to know the signs of, and and also I just want to sort of calm people's minds a bit, because I think especially blood transfusions are something that people feel, and I definitely did, a little bit scared of. So I'm going to start off with what anemia is, and I've written it down on a bit of paper so I don't get it wrong. So that's what I'm doing, looking down. So it's a common blood condition where you lack enough healthy red blood cells or haemoglobin to carry sufficient oxygen to your body's tissues. Now, if you've been following this playlist or me on other socials, then you know that I talked quite a bit about my haemoglobin levels. So there should be at least 120, and mine got down to 64, I think was the lowest recorded one. So obviously, as they said, I was significantly anemic. There are various causes of anemia. Iron deficiency, which is what I had due to blood loss. So obviously if you have an accident that might cause blood loss, you have really heavy periods, which is kind of what mine was. And if you sort of some births and stuff, you can lose a lot of blood. So that might be why you end up with an iron deficiency, is through blood loss. But there's also vitamin deficiencies, and some chronic illnesses as well can cause anemia with iron deficiency and things like that. There are various symptoms of anemia, so you might get some of these or all of these. So headaches is in there, which weirdly, even though I get migraines, I didn't actually get headaches for this. Dizziness is also on here, which was kind of a separate issue for me with the dizziness. So that was not something I actually got due to the blood loss as such. But I did get fatigue, so it was like a complete physical exhaustion as well as mental exhaustion. So, you know, it just, I had no energy. You know, when you get a virus and stuff and you're like, oh my God, you just feel really heavy and just tired doing the simplest things. That was me. And one of the first signs I noticed something was wrong was when I was doing yoga, which I was doing every day at this time. I put my arms up to do like warrior 2 or whatever, and it ached here really badly. Like I couldn't hold my arm up here, and considering I'd been doing it every day for a few years, like I was doing this move pretty much every day and I could hold my hands up here no problem, but it was aching so much. I was just like, I can't do this. It was just making me feel so knackered and tired that I was like, I can't do this yoga. I literally was doing yoga up until the day before I had the first 2 units of blood. But that was one of the reasons. Another symptom should I say, that I noticed was, it was more my husband, but I did notice it as well, was how pale I was. So when I looked in the mirror, I was just like, am I normally this pale? I swear I'm not normally this pale. And my husband was like, you look really pale. And it was like, my face was white, but so were my lips, my gums, underneath my eyes here, were all so white, no colour whatsoever. And that was a major difference for me, is when I took like videos of this as well, of me really pale, but when you could see me before the units of blood and then afterwards, like you could literally see the colour coming back in my skin. I could see my veins and everything. And like afterwards, the nurse was like, you're like a whole different woman. And I was like, I know. I feel like it, even if it was only for a brief time at that moment. Another one I got was heart palpitations. I think this is quite a common one as well that you get. So I thought heart palpitations were just like your heart misses a beat, but it is that, but it's also racing really fast. So I could literally, it just sounded really loud to me. I could hear it in my ears. So I was like sitting on the sofa with John and Molly, and I was like, is that Molly's heart? Thinking maybe she was resting, her front on the sofa. And John was like, what? And I was like, can you not hear that? And he was like, no, I kind of think it's you. And that was weird. So yeah, I'd hear it just sitting down, doing nothing. It'd get more as I moved, just not necessarily doing anything, but like going up the stairs was my task. I was literally like, because I was so out of breath just doing everything. I've got videos of that as well, that I've posted on socials, because it was just crazy. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a fit person, because I'm not, but I could go up the stairs and have a shower and all that kind of thing and walk around the room without feeling out of breath. So that was on a whole different level, and those were the main things for me that I noticed about before I went to the doctor, and then I did go to the doctor. They did the blood test, and then they were like, you are significantly anemic, which is weird because I've never been anemic before. So I was like, oh, right. There are various treatments for iron deficiency or anemia. So one of the things, it depends how you are on the level of anemia. So if it's not too bad, they'll probably give you iron tablets. So I had like industrial strength iron tablets, which you can get on prescription. So I think normally it's something like 14 or something milligrams in an iron tablet, so you can get over the counter, which I normally have because getting the right amount of iron is good for you in general anyway. But they gave me ones that were like 350, I think. They were really strong, and I've had them most of this year, but I haven't had them for like a couple of months now, a month and a bit or whatever. But yeah, so I had those. And then from what I gather, if your hemoglobin is from like about 100 to 80, this, obviously I'm not a doctor, so don't take this as gospel, but this, from the discussion with various nurses and stuff, is what I gathered is kind of the rough guide of how it goes. But obviously it's going to be different for different people and different circumstances and stuff anyway. So roughly between, yeah, if your hemoglobin is like 10 to 80, that's where they go, I think we need to give you an iron infusion. So I only had one iron infusion, which was like almost like to top up my blood transfusions. And it was really weird actually, because it goes in your arm via cannula. So I had cannulas everywhere at various points in the year. So I had them in this hand, in my elbow, wherever. It's just wherever they can get a vein. And when you're obviously like not got a lot of blood inside you, your veins are a bit pathetic. And then when you're getting a lot of needles shoved in you, your veins just like, no, we're not coming out, so you can stab more needles than me. Absolutely not. So that's why I had them like all over the place. But yeah, the iron transfusion, it looks like a blood transfusion. So it's in like that bag and it's up on the stand, or they have like, if you're in a cubicle, there's a hook that they sometimes use that they put over the cubicle and then hang the bag on. Once they transferred that in the middle of the night, I didn't even notice. Like, I was like, so out of it. Anyway, so yeah, and it comes out, but it only takes like 15 minutes to half an hour, I think it is, for the iron transfusion to go into you, and it literally goes, it's so loud. So I'm glad it doesn't take that long, and that they did it in the day, because you're not going to be able to sleep through that unless you're a really, really, really deep sleeper. But yeah, it doesn't hurt or anything, it's fine, and yeah, it doesn't take that long, but it was kind of a weird experience, just the noise. And of course, another treatment for iron deficiency is blood transfusions. So I'd never had a blood transfusion until this year in January, and the only person I know who has had a blood transfusion, or knew at the time, was my mum, and that was when I was born in the 80s. And they didn't screen things very well in the 80s, so a few decades later my mum had to go back and get re-screened basically to check for various blood disorders that wouldn't have been checked before, and luckily she was fine. But obviously it's kind of like a little bit worrying. I didn't want to have that, so I was like, I hope they've sorted that out now. They tell you basically everything. They tell you, obviously they test you for your blood type. I knew my blood type, obviously they tested anyway, and so obviously got the right blood for you. They tell you that they have screened for every known blood disorder. I mean, that's just being honest. We don't know everything in science, but I'm really hoping that they do when it comes to blood disorders, because I don't want to find out in a couple of decades and I've got something with her. That would not be good. You also, once you've had a blood transfusion, if you've had one since 1980, you cannot donate blood. So if you have been donating blood, but then you yourself have had a blood transfusion, you can't donate blood anymore. So neither my mum, me, or my mother-in-law can donate blood anymore. And that makes me kind of sad, because I wish I had. I've never donated blood. This is how bad it is. I've never donated blood. I've thought about it loads of times, and I think I've always thought it's such an important thing to do. But you know what? It's like, you don't know. It's almost a selfish thing. It's like, oh yeah, no, I do it sometimes, like you've got all the time, but all the time in the world. But one day, it's you that needs it, and you haven't donated any blood, and you're using somebody else's who has taken that time out to do it. And I just think those people who donate blood are flipping amazing, and I really wish I could donate blood now, because I flipping would be, as much as I could, because they literally saved my life and taken out. They don't even know it, but they saved my life. So I really appreciate anyone who gives blood, I think you do a flipping amazing thing. And if you can donate, please donate, because yeah, it literally saves lives. And I was not wanting to go out at the age of 40, okay? Got things to do still. So blood transfusions take each unit, so each bag is a unit, and they take about 2 hours to go in, which is ages. So they often do them at night. The first 2 I had in January were in the evening. I was awake for that, but you can actually sleep through them. I've slept through quite a few units of blood and also fluids and things like that. So it is possible, even though you're attached. It's easier when you're attached by the hand, because then you can just kind of put your hand on your side or out like this. It's harder with the arm, and I did have it in my arm once and I was like this and my arm was numb by the time I woke up. But anyway, that's besides the point. So with the blood, as I said, it takes about 2 hours to go into your system, because I like to do it slow, so it's less likely for your body to reject the blood, because even though it's your blood type, your body could still reject it. So within the first 5-10 minutes of it, they do your obs beforehand, and they come and do your obs again, about 5-10 minutes into it, to check that there's no reaction, because the things you have to look out for, like I think it's like a rash. I can't even remember what it is now, and I've been told so many times. But one of them is like a rash, definitely. And there's a couple of other symptoms that you have to look out for and obviously let them know about. But they come and check you after like 10 minutes anyway to see if you've had any reactions. And they also do your obs after the blood transfusion as well. So all in all, I had 9 units of blood this year. It's weird. And 1 iron transfusion. It's great. But as I'm not bleeding anymore, because if you've been following this playlist, you know that I've had a hysterectomy, so therefore that's been, now that's been taken out, it means that I'm not bleeding anymore, so I've got no iron tablets, and I've not obviously had to have any units of blood. So hopefully for me, that will be okay. I don't have to go there again, at least anytime soon. But I thought, because I have contamination OCD, I struggled at the beginning. I mean, obviously I had to have a blood transfusion and I had to get over it, if you know what I mean. It's one of those things where I was like, well, it's either this or, well, you dread to think, don't you, really? But the thing I struggled with really was the idea of having something else that wasn't mine in my body. So obviously someone else's blood, like from inside somebody else, was going inside me and circulating around my blood. So in my head, it was making me dirty and I couldn't clean it, because obviously it's inside. So I was like, no amount of water is going to make me feel clean. And I struggled with that the first time, but I got over that pretty quick, luckily. And I was quite surprised how well I did. So after the first couple of units, I did have a few times where I was like, oh, when I thought about it. But by the time I had the others, which were all quite close together in March, I'd got my head around it a bit more and was better about it and things like that. But yeah, that was one of the things that I worried about. Again, blood transfusions do not hurt. So like the iron infusion, you can't feel it going in. They do like a wash, I think they call it. No, flush. They call it a flush first. And that can feel a little bit of cold. It was only like a second where you can feel it when they put that in, but it doesn't hurt, it's just a bit of cold. And then after that, you can't feel anything. It's just weird, like you're there attached to it and you can see the blood coming down the tube like this, coming all the way down and into your arm, and you can't feel it, you feel no different. And a couple of the nurses who hadn't obviously not had blood transfusions themselves were like, can you actually feel it, just out of interest? And I was like, no, I can't feel it at all. And like loads of people ask me if I can feel it, because you feel like you should be able to, don't you? But you can't at all, honestly. There's no feeling with it at all. And as I said, I've had it in both hands, both arms or whatever. I didn't feel it at any point there. So yeah, no need to worry about that if that's one of your worries. So anyway, that's it for this video. As I said at the beginning of this one, I'm probably only going to do another 1, maybe 2 for this playlist. And then hopefully I'll be at the end of this chapter of my life. Yes. It feels like it's been a long one. But I hope you found these videos interesting, and obviously share them with people who you think might benefit from these. And yeah, I just find this whole thing, I have found it interesting. Even when I've been ill, I've been like, I did not know that, and oh really? And yeah, so now I know in future, not just for myself but for other people, if things, you know, to recognise the signs of things like this happen, to anyone else, so fingers crossed they won't. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching, and please catch up on the rest of the playlist if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.